All right, Jensen Huang comments. Is that just enough to turn everything around, to ease all these valuation concerns, the fact that he sees things getting stronger and stronger?
But it is. Look, we've talked about it. I mean, that was a white-knuckle moment this past week. I mean, you could say it started off with Palantir, those ridiculous numbers and the stock selling off. 10-to-1 is still demand to supply for NVIDIA chips. We talk about it from Asia. I think everything Jensen's seeing, I think we go into late next week, that NVIDIA earnings, that's going to be sort of the Super Bowl here. I mean, I think this is going to be a tech market that I think rips higher. I think tech stocks are up 8 to 10% into year end, led by NVIDIA.
Led by
Palantir,
NVIDIA, which has to
Microsoft.
report earnings. So obviously that's a factor. They have to have strong earnings, I would assume, for your thesis to hold. I want to get to valuations for a second, including one of your picks for us, a company that you actually raised the price target on, Zscaler. You have it at 350, about a 9% upside from where it trades right now. Its forward PE is 87 times. We're going to show Palantir too. More than 220 times. CrowdStrike's another one of your picks. More than 125 times forward times, or 125 forward earnings. These are really elevated valuations, Dan. I don't care what's going on with AI. Is it just not a concern to you personally?
Look, I mean, you've talked about it over the years. If you look just at 1 year valuation or 2 year valuation, you missed every transformational tech stock the last 20 years. It's my view in AI, a fourth industrial revolution, you look at the next 3-4 years, 3 to 4 trillion that's going to be spent. I mean, more money is going to be spent next 3-4 years than the last 10-12 years combined. So when I look at a name like Zscaler or names like CrowdStrike in terms of cybersecurity, you're not getting really what I view as even an AI multiple for what could be an incremental 30-40% revenue of the total company today over the coming years. That's my view in terms of how you have to look at it. And that's what we talk about Palantir. $1 trillion market cap next 2 to 3 years.
All right. I want to go to Zscaler very quickly because that's one of the companies like you're really focused on right now. Again, raising the price target. Zero trust player. So zero trust is a big thing right now, especially with AI. If you talk to anybody in cybersecurity, but they're facing a lot of competition, not only from Palo Alto that's beefed up with acquisitions, but also CrowdStrike that's made a number of acquisitions. Platforming, that's the big thing. Is their platform big enough to maintain their customer base as we see, really, we use this word a lot, a bifurcation in cybersecurity from the bigger players to the more specific players? It seems like companies are gravitating towards the bigger players.
Look, it's not a zero-sum game. I mean, so I view, when I look at Zscaler, they're expanding their solution set at a pace that's really unrivaled. And I think when you think about the second, third, fourth derivatives of AI, cybersecurity is front and center. So if you look where they play, I think they're in the sweet spot. So to my point is that as you go into earnings in the next, call it 2, 3, 4 quarters, investors are underestimating what the Zscaler move looks like. But I'd say the same thing for Palo Alto, the same thing for CrowdStrike. I mean, those are 3 names on the Ives AI 30.
All right, this morning it's easy to be bullish. You're always bullish, but it's easy to be bullish on everything because everything's moving higher. Number of earnings coming out this week: Cisco, Applied Materials, Sony, CoreWeave. Is there one of those that has the potential to have the big market impact, upside or downside, like we saw from Palantir?
CoreWeave. I mean, put an asterisk around that. And I think you could also say it's Cisco in terms of some of the things that they're seeing in AI. Look, I think despite what we saw last week, it comes down to like, this is a bull market. I think it has 2 years left. Because in my view is that investors, they're underestimating the second, third, fourth derivatives. You look at CoreWeave, you look at Nebius, you look what I believe is actually now setting the scene. But it all starts, godfather of AI, Jensen, NVIDIA, next week. That's going to be, I think, a seminal moment to move tech stocks higher.
All right, so just hypothetically, if CoreWeave isn't as good as expected, or if it's pretty good and it sells off, what does that mean for the rest of this week in tech, or at least until we get to those NVIDIA earnings?
Yeah, look at Meta. I mean, Meta sold off, and obviously the haters came out, bears came out of hibernation mode. But why? I mean, growths, they're expanding CapEx, and that's what you want to see. So I think sometimes the reactions to stocks, it sends a signal where you think something's wrong, but if you actually think about the thesis that's playing out in terms of this AI revolution, I think it continues to be bullish. Everything we've seen on CoreWeave, I think the infrastructure players are going to continue to be extremely bullish. And we've talked about it. In the AI party, it started at 9 p.m. It's now 10:30 p.m.
It's 10:30 now?
It's 10:30.
Okay.
And the party goes to 4 a.m.